Mr. Bentsen, what do you foresee as some of the great issues of our time?
Well, I think that what we're all concerned about right now is the cost of living and doing something about it. All you have to do is go down to the grocery store and try to buy something or buy a suit of clothes or a car, and you know how everything has gone up. So I think really fighting inflation is one of the big ones. I just don't believe that a senator should go wading into every problem these days and say that the only solution is just to spend, 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 or to have another appropriation bill. In this day of shrinking dollar and tight money and high interest rates, we can't have the government also fanning the flames of inflation.
It's been charged recently that you had a $70 million cash reserve. Would you care to comment on this?
That's a pretty wild statement, and that's the type of thing that usually happens when the incumbent senator gets in trouble. He starts listing some real irresponsible statements. Now, what he's talking about, I guess, is the reserves of a life insurance company that are owned by all the policyholders. That's the only figure I can think of.
In the matter of discipline in our nation's schools today, there are some students who want to run the schools. Where do you think the power to run the school should be, and what do you think the role of the classroom teacher should be?
Power is a very interesting word, and I'll speak directly to the students. I think students have a right to pursue creatively their own education, because classroom teachers nor any other group can assume the responsibility of the direction that an individual takes. We each have to assume this. But in any organized society, whether it be the classroom or in society at large, there have to be rules and regulations, and there has to be someone who is responsible for this carrying out of the rules and regulations.
In the event that some actions are necessary, what recourse do these men have, and is there any possibility that they might be reinstated somewhere along the line?
Well, they certainly do have. This is the right of any government employee that after a decision like this would be made at the local facility level or within our organization at the proper level, they then have appeal rights that they can go either through the appeal procedures of the FAA or to the Civil Service Commission if they so elect, or in certain cases, they do have the right to go to the court for a final review. Over.
Teel, I think the most important goals of any institution, and our institution has definitely set them forth, is to get our American people back on the idea that a good day's work, hard work, faith in country, faith in one another, respect for the dignity of our citizenry, no matter who they may be, and the idea that this nation has a mission in the whole world, and that mission ought to be to provide a leadership that commands respect. So Freedom's Foundation looks at it this way. We would like to see some great goals, such as the cleaning up of our communities. We talk about ecology, 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 but the first thing to do is to clean up the dirty cities of this nation, and this can be done because human hands put the dirt there, and only human hands can take it away. That ought to be a voluntary operation.
You may recall in those telethons the night before the campaign ended in 1968 that then Vice President Nixon, now President Nixon, accused Vice President Hubert Humphrey of being for school busing to achieve racial balance. Vice President Humphrey, in his telethon from Los Angeles, denounced that statement as false and said he had never advocated busing students to achieve racial balance. I agree with my party on that, with my candidate Hubert Humphrey. Support him on that basis. I've never supported busing of students just to take them across town to get an equal mix in the schools.
And I have never received one penny from anyone that's a member of my staff. And I'd like to hear the judge, this Judge Mead, that's my opponent, make a statement like that too. I'd like for him to say that he has never received any money from anyone that had a case pending before him in court, or a relative of anyone that had a case pending before him in court, or has received any money from a lawyer, a trial lawyer that has cases pending before him in court.
Congressman Collins, do you have any evidence that indeed Judge Mead has accepted
I have nothing
money?
on Judge Mead. I have absolutely nothing. You know, I never had this subject ever come up before, and I just wondered why he brought it up.
Part-time on your staff had a listed salary of some $25,000, I think it was.
He made $19,000 last year, and he was the man in charge of this district, and that's about what I find that comparable congressional salaries pay the man that's in charge of the field district. Now, this young man you're talking about is 35 years of age. He's always gone to school. He goes to school now, and he is no longer on our staff.
What happened to the other $6,000 or so there between what he was paid and what was listed as his salary?
No, he was paid $19,000. That was an ambiguous mistake that was listed. He made $19,000. The $19,000 is how much he was paid last year. That's what you wanted to know.
Is to get balance on it, and to have all areas represented, and to have certainly the president have a flexibility of getting people on there that he thinks. And then if the system works, heck, and if people don't like that, why, they elect another president, he brings a different kind of a balance to the court. Charles Allen Wright of the University of Texas, one of the foremost constitutional lawyers, really is worth reading on this. I put something in the record that he said a couple of weeks ago. I don't have the exact reference, but he talks about the president would be derelict in his duty if he didn't bring to the court the philosophical views that the people elected him to bring to the court.
The new Dallas Convention Center had its first convention here today, held, of course, by the Dallas Boneheads on the event of their 50th anniversary. The first event of business was the payment of the exorbitant rental fee of $2.75. Auditorium Director Pye Vanderslice was on hand personally to accept the fee. The club, led by its president, Charlie Hendricks, has several reasons why the convention center should not be built any more than it is now. They think the $35 million should be given to, as they put it, Charlie Galvin's War on Poverty. Half of the money, they say, should go for indigent, newly retired lawyers. Also, Charlie Hendricks says that the convention here, as it is now, would result in shorter conventions. Bonehead Club feels that, particularly in August, the weather would make conventions shorter, and that way there could be more of them. Perhaps it is in the tradition of short convention that today's Bonehead Convention ended rather abruptly with the appearance of the speaker, Representative Jack Blanton.
You're going to have a lot of...
How do you do, Mr. Turner? Bill King. Glad to meet you. We really appreciate you cooperating with us to deliver all this money.
Thanks, sir. We have the sum of $2.75.
Right.
Located adjacent to the beautiful Trinity River, and it will accommodate any modern convention crowd that you can think of, possibly excluding only the Billy Graham Crusade, which after all is only a single-shot deal. But we can handle any other type convention that comes along. Look at the size. For us to get into the serious part of this program now, I'd like to introduce to you at this time Mr. Jack Blanton, who will make our address. Jack, the mic is all yours. Well, gentlemen, sit down. Did you get that speech? Oh.